Hey, team players, and welcome back. So we have a fun and great show here today. We're going to be doing lots of awesome stuff. Most of all, we're going to be getting our first best ball live for the 2026 season here. And guys, one of the things that we're going to really highlight here is since it's such a new and a fresh season, ADPs are far from settled in here. And Bob, this is one of the things that I know that you work with a lot is how can we exploit the system and really get it to a spot where we can make some value? Because
Well, if you were with us yesterday or you watched yesterday, I did do a stream yesterday, Joe. I streamed.
yeah, you did. I saw that.
I streamed it yesterday while that Seattle game was going on. So I know I had to get into it. When I saw it was ready to go, I had to get into it. Jamie, appreciate you, man. Dark side. This snow got me in a tizzy. My wife was outside shoveling while I put the little one to sleep, so I had to go out and help her. So that is why we are late.
We're about as late as
like
your boy is
accurate.
accurate. So
you want to know what they did?
Starting point.
Well, you want to know what they did? The city of Pittsburgh, they decided that they're going to plow my street like they never do, and they pushed all of the snow up against everybody's cars. And then our neighbor had to park on the other side, so we had to make a pathway for him as well. So I don't like it. But she actually wanted to. That's the surprising thing, Jamie. She loves snow, but hates it when she has to walk in it, but loves it to just like shovel. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's work. But King Caleb. Joe, speaking of Caleb,
14 before the drive where he became a Hall of Famer.
He's
that's the one I'm talking about.
When we went live last week, prior to yesterday's live, one of the things we noted was the ADP of Caleb Williams in these best ball drafts early. You're going to see him go as early as 4 or 5. You're going to see Colson Loveland go 4 or 5. She would like to hear you say that, Jamie, but her tastes are far beyond my culinary abilities. She would rather have a whole fish filleted with a soup and everything. I just can't do that. I just didn't.
You guys are distracting Bob too much with questions.
I watched the little one while that happens, but definitely a Chick-fil-A visit is in our future. But when we were looking at the ADPs, we said that there were a couple of players that we wanted to stay away from. So, Joe, let's rack up a little board right now. So we can just see these early ADPs and where you can take advantage of some potential closing line value eventually on some of these players.
All right, Bob, you ready to click it?
I'm clicking enter as we speak. I'm clicking confirm right now.
Cool. So, all right, and there's only 4 in this board, guys. So if you guys want to jump in this as well.
So as we pull up these early slot ADPs. So go live on your computer here. Pull it up.
Come on, baby.
And this is the thing, Dark Side. I was saying to Joe that there were times, especially when Caleb moves out of the pocket, that he looks absolutely tremendous. And there's Ben Johnson,
times he looks inaccurate.
Ben Johnson knows what he has with Caleb Williams, and he knows that he's going to how to utilize him. I think with another year under his belt with the two of them, I see great things for Chicago. Joe doesn't.
Not even close.
I'm not even wishful thinking on that. I'm just saying that like the attitude of Ben Johnson, he has that Dan Campbell mentality where he says, like when they asked him in his presser, like, hey, like, what are you going to build off of? He goes, well, we're starting from square one.
As he should. Doesn't have an accurate quarterback.
We're down there. I would love to see Caleb clean up his inaccuracies, but with an offensive line like that, if they could get a defense to support, so they don't have to have so many late games to, comebacks, like that would be nice. But looking at these early,
before you jump off this is to point out, everyone's trying to put this analogy that he's going to become the next Josh Allen. Josh Allen, who's inaccurate as can be the first 2 years. And that is the most wishful thinking thing. The reality is he's much, much closer to Caleb Williams, or to Caleb Williams is much, much closer to Kyler Murray than he is to Josh Allen. And that's just the reality of it. That's the way he is on the field. That's his accuracy levels. That's just life. And
all right, so I got the
Allen
one.
Was
Joe has the
once
9.
in a generation growth, and to think you're going to get that out of Caleb Williams just isn't there.
Well, so here's the thing I want to say about these early best ball tournaments is that the lay of the land is going to be dicey for us for a little while until
Mm-hmm.
people start doing a little bit more and the ADP kind of falls in line. But there's some interesting selections. The top half of the first round here, and as we go through it, we'll talk about each round and how kind of to view it. I do have a belief that a lot of these rookies are being overdrafted. I have
Absolutely.
concern. I have concern, especially at the wide receiver position, where some of these early ADPs are. Now, I don't have a problem drafting, like I told you guys yesterday, rookie wide receivers, but we have to understand that the absolute ceiling for some of these guys might be 800 yards and might be 4 to 5 touchdowns. So, there is a framework that if you don't think a guy that's been in the league already that can top that, like for example, I'm just looking at the ADP of a guy like Carnell Tate, right? Sitting here at 52. Some people have him as wide receiver 20, wide receiver 25. Same with Jordan Tyson somewhere in there. I would much rather have Emeka Egbuka or Luther Burden over the two of them. So just like looking at that ADP very quickly as we go through it. Another player that I don't think people should be touching at this ADP that I think his closing line value is going to be much lower than this in some of these tournaments is Alec Pierce. They have Alec Pierce here at a 61 ADP. There is a framework that you could say that he might not be back next year. He might land on a new team. And what's that going to look like? So it's just one of those things that I think that we have to keep looking at when we go. Jason, congrats to the Pats, man. I mean, they kind of were falling flat on their face literally in the fourth quarter of that game in the snow. But they have a chance to do something that the Patriots haven't done in a while. Win a Super Bowl. I mean, I was looking at the AFC Championship winners over the last 10 years, and it's just Pats, Chiefs, Bengals, Chiefs, Pats. And so it's really interesting to see the quick turnaround that Vrabel's done with that team. Kudos to Drake May. Kudos to that. Last year even we were smacking on Drake May for having so many turnovers, and he's cut that back. Their defense has come back, looked good. I do still think Seattle wins it, Jason, but that's all right. Mick.
Yeah, so guys, I'm sorry you weren't able to make it. Did anyone else be able to jump in this one with us? I am obviously the 9th pick, and Bob is the 1st.
Now, I think CeeDee Lamb at 9. So when I drafted the second one I did yesterday, which I didn't do live, I did draft Achane 9. And I think that the value, I would much rather be on the back half of this draft, looking at the values that can be had, getting CD at 9 and maybe even turning it around with J-Jeff at the turn here or a Saquon, I think is a very, very strong, realistic start. And I think that the teams that are down here at the far end are going to be a little stronger. Like I said in the show last week, I am probably avoiding Ashton Genty at this ADP. I understand that he's probably going to settle somewhere in this range, come later on in the season here in the best ball season. But I just can't bring it into me to draft him, especially knowing that the offensive line may or may not get better in this next year. I do have some question marks about that. Dark Side, which one's your username, man? When we redraft, redraft season is going to be on us sooner rather than later. So it's always nice to prepare in that.
So capacity. I want to comment upon the decision I was just forced there. I ended up obviously choosing Jeremiah Love over Genty, London, and Neighbors. And
that's wild. That's wild to me, bro.
I've seen Jeremiah Love in person a couple of times now. That guy is an absolute freak. He has he's a better prospect than Genty was. And if you look realistically, and I know it's all mocks and all this current thing, but he's going to end up in really one of 3 places. He's going to New Orleans, where he's going to replace Kamara. He's going to go to Cincinnati, where he's an instant threat. And if you give me either one of those choices, he could be running back 3. And you don't get that in the second round.
It's fair, but also, you will
never hear me not love Jeremiah Love. I'm declaring that now.
That's because you're a Notre Dame homer.
That's part of it, but the other part is the guy can fly.
All right, Dark Side's pick 10, Joe.
Blockable.
Oh yeah, I remember you.
Dark Side's next to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dark
Darkside's
Side's
right next to
rocking
you.
the Barkley and Ahmad lineup right now.
Now, I love that start. You know, and there's realistic. I was talking to everybody who was watching yesterday, and if you watched on Rewind yesterday too, this side of the board, there's going to be a lot of running backs that come up because sooner rather than later, there is going to be a dearth of running backs that people are going to want to capitalize on some of them, but some of their ADPs right now are a little bit higher than maybe you would want to pay. So there's going to be a little bit of a dead zone coming up. And the quarterback dead zone is not existent, I don't think. As I said yesterday when I went live, I don't feel a reason to take a quarterback prior to round 6. The quarterbacks that you can get from round 6 on, I think, have tremendous value in comparison to the quarterbacks that you have to take above that. Jane Daniels, Jackson Dart, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Hurts, Stafford, Mahomes. Those are all quarterbacks that can be had after the 6th round. So, like, I think there's a lot to say about quarterback in this draft. That I think that Josh Allen is a pass right now for me at this current ADP. Now, I love the Breece Hall get, and I absolutely love the Ken Walker pick.
See, I only love Breece Hall if he's not a Jet. And I'm not usually a fan of making speculative picks in the 3rd round. But if he's not a Jet, he could be a home run as well.
I mean, even if he is a Jet, I think that he's performed admirably over the course of the season.
For now, a Jet, which doesn't win you championships,
now, Joe,
makes you good for a Jet.
Joe, we've got the Tet A.J. Brown. Yesterday, I took Tet at the top of the 3rd round. Here he goes at the bottom of the 3rd round. A.J. Brown and Garrett Wilson.
I love to see his ADPs falling. Round. Keep that thing going.
I'm very curious about the A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson ADPs and how they'll end up landing, because that, to me, is going to be some pretty decent value depending on what happens with A.J. Brown's situation and what happens with Garrett Wilson's quarterback situation.
Oh, so yeah, that's my guy there, Dark Side. I was going to go JMO, but you guys know I'm a running back core, and I feel no shame in doing this.
I think I would not have done that.
I know you
Henderson is currently.
You don't love running backs in the same way that I do.
Well, he's not one of the guys that I'm valuing at that point.
I think that there's a very real chance that it's no longer a partial split, but it becomes Henderson's team next year.
So Colston Loveland in the 4th round for me is such a high price to pay. Loved Cam Scatterby there in the 4th round. Was hoping that he would fall to me. Obviously didn't. But Colston Loveland in the 4th is just, I think that's criminal. He deserves it, but I would not pay that price at this point in time. It's a very, very high price. And Kyle Pitts is even in a worse position to me at that point. I would not take him either.
Can I ask a question, just basic ADP? I know he was the only guy in Arizona at the end of the year. Why is Michael Wilson projected to be a 6th rounder? That is insanely high.
You best believe it's high.
Like, what are we doing, people? I'd rather have any of the Bears before that. Like, things just ain't making sense nowadays, Bob.
Well, I took Emeka Egbuka before his ADP there because I knew I probably wouldn't be getting him.
Anyone coming back, dude?
You know, I got a decent squad together here. Took Judkins ahead of his ADP currently. I do think that Judkins is going to end up with a higher closing line value right around to where we have him there in the 4th round. Just because after Judkins, you're taking a lot of chances on guys that their positions may not be fully entrenched going into next season. And you do want to clear that up. Like for you, Joe, you have 3 running backs, so you want to pivot and get some nice wide receivers there.
Obviously.
Joe getting on dark side here. Yeah, I think that the team stacks are really nice. I agree with the JMO decision. I assume Goff is in your future plus Laporta, with Laporta being one of the next 2 picks for you, dark side. You can see I have a little Tampa Bay action happening here, hoping that I can get Baker probably in the 9th or the 10th round. There goes Michael Wilson, Joe. You have the chance to take Marvin Harrison Jr. if you want him. He's still on the board.
I'd rather have the guy who's going to be a free agent, because you go out and spend the contract that Alex Pierce.
I just told you.
You're going to use him.
Dude, I just told you that ADP is so trash, and then you went ahead and you took him anyway.
I'm absolutely doing it. I don't think it's trash.
I
Because
don't
when you
think
go
he's a
out
trash
and you
player,
spend
but
25 plus million a year on a guy, you use him.
Joe, you have said that before, and it didn't happen.
It normally does.
I would rather have had Jane Daniels over Alec Pierce in that situation.
Oh, no.
To be honest with you.
I'm going to.
The likes of Alec Pierce can be had variable anywhere on the board. Okay. It is not a necessity to take him. Okay.
Oh, I think Bob, he ends up being, he can end up being,
anything.
Jameis Wilson style.
So Jamie, from everything that I've heard and everything that I've read is the surgery went well. And like I said, I'm willing to take heater like a flyer on him in the 4th, 5th round. Typically speaking, if I was sitting here down here where Joe is, Judkins would probably last that far. But because I'm at the top of the turn, I don't have the luxury of waiting on certain players that I want to get. So if I want them, I have to take them well before their ADP. Now, typically speaking, do we want running backs behind poor offensive lines? No. But we would have to make an assumption here that whatever coach comes in and coaches is going to want to use him.
And they're going to rebuild it. They're going to have to use him. He's their best offensive weapon.
Cleveland
needs to give the ball to Judkins. It's the only time they're had a monocle of success on offense.
This guy at 6 just took Burrow and Allen.
Dude, this guy at 6 is making the worst draft you can make. He's taking 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, but I was going to take Burrow because I have Higgins. I wanted that stack.
I understand wanting the stack. It's still a horrible team. Like if I could put odds on right now who will have the worst roster, that's an easy bet.
Quarterback run. Avoid.
That's pretty much the answer.
Like, I mean, come on, bro. All right. You're gonna see this and you're gonna go, what? What's about to happen here? I have a couple different directions to go, but I'm gonna go. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go that. Yep. Quarterback run.
Oh, Waddle in the 7th is remarkable.
Well, I mean,
he's a guy that's getting slept on. It's not like he became less talented.
Looking at my team, you'll be like, hey, there's a bunch of number 2 wide receivers there, but these are a bunch of wide receivers that have the talent to be number 1 wide receivers.
Harrison and Waddle, which I was considering both of them where I took Warren, are the number 1 playmakers on their team.
Just as an aside here, in the first draft I did yesterday, Harrison and Waddle went at the 5-6 turn. So there are people the variation is wild. This guy here going 3 quarterbacks, Caleb, Bo, Hurts, destroying his value. I mean, these early little boards, like I said, it's loose, man. It's loose. And the fact is that going rookie crazy makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Like, it's okay to have 2 rookies, but we saw last year, if you take 3 or more rookies and those rookies don't pan out or they don't end up on that in the good situation, you're going to be screwed. And, like the Matthew Goldens of the world didn't do anything, but the Tets did. And you don't often, you will see rookies occasionally go over that ceiling of 1,000 yards. But if there's a player on the board that can have 1,000 yards ahead of them, I would rather have them. DK Metcalf there, Parker Washington. Joe, I like Parker Washington there.
Yeah,
ETJ is a tremendous value for you there. Absolutely incredible. Thoughts on Arthur Smith as OC at Ohio State? Good riddance, Jamie. Good riddance.
He will dominate at Ohio State.
He will, but good riddance to him. There goes Laporta at 710 to dark side. Makes sense. He's got a nice little Washington 2B there with Jaden Daniels and McLaurin, and then a nice little Detroit stack happening. So nice looking out on that end. And I've got a couple quarterbacks open to me here with Baker. I'm not going with any of the Arizona quarterbacks. I'm going to avoid that. And then Tua, gotta assume. And here's the thing: the reason I took Evans Igbuka that high is that I'm assuming that Evans is almost on the edge of retirement. So,
and that's correct.
If it doesn't hit and I made a mistake, I made a mistake. But I'm not entirely, you know, going to be so upset by it if it doesn't happen, because Evans is a tremendous player. You know, and a guy that I'm really curious about down here, Xavier Worthy, injured all year. ADP currently 108, so going in the 9th round. Gotta assume, did this guy take another damn fucking quarterback? No,
Yeah, you missed that last go around.
man. Like, this is absurd. Like, look at all that quarterbacks from 5 to 7. Those quarterbacks should shift down 2 rounds.
At least.
You should see a shift down 2 rounds. So you're going to be, if you don't take a quarterback here, you're going to catch some nice value. When everybody else already has their quarterbacks, you're going to be able to get one.
Absolutely,
sucks.
that's the plan.
It sucks that I didn't get who I wanted, but another quarterback.
Well, are you kidding me? You're taking 4 quarterbacks?
Another quarterback. Wild, Joe. Absolutely insane.
Wow. Well, I mean, there is a certain moment you just got to adjust to your draft.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to slam 2 running backs here with Tootin and Marks that have some upside given their situations. I don't want to totally get locked out of quarterback, or don't want to get totally locked out of running back on the way back. This guy has 4 quarterbacks. He's going to end up, this draft is going to end up getting canceled.
They never get canceled.
No, mine did. One of mine got canceled. So this guy has 5 quarterbacks. He's just being an ass. So that's fine. That's fine. This one's going to get thrown out.
It will not. You always say that. And it
will. Because they sent me a message when I drafted Gainwell by accident.
That's because you took a guy 20 rounds early. These guys aren't going mathematically that high ahead.
5 quarterbacks. Can't get a stack. You know, Darkside's going to get his Jared Goff. Might as well take him now because he ain't going to get him on the comeback with all this guy taking 5 quarterbacks.
No, you're not going to get Goff on the comeback.
Jordan Love, I like Love. I mean, he will be going.
After all of that wasted capital, still get Love is pretty okay with
Jordan Love in a typical tournament. Jordan Love will be going in like the 12th, 13th round, guys. So we'll rack up another one after this, just so you can see that like assholes like that, you know, are pushing quarterback up the board. There's no value in doing that.
Not really.
Just to keep it 100% here. You know, if he ends up going Sam Darnold or something coming up here, like he's already just messing around. But I'll scoop up the value of other players. Xavier Worthy lasting till the 10th round. Absurd. Pretty crazy to me. And then we have guys on contracts like Dobbs. You know, where will he end up going?
He's going to go somewhere that someone loves him.
Yeah. And, you know, I was talking on the stream on yesterday, talking about Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's sitting down here at pick ADP 120. And it feels right. And it feels like it's something that should be invested in. From a perspective that he should be healthy finally, and he is still, you know, decently good, like, you know, a good age for the most part. 29 years old. So somebody's going, if they decide to move on from him, somebody's going to take him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like right now where you're sitting at in the 10th, 11th round, that is, you know, really good value. And also like the Emeka Egbuka pick, if people don't like Emeka Egbuka, right? And you want to wait for Jalen McMillan and Chris Godwin, like all power to you. Like that's a move that you can make.
Jamie, I kind of want him to take a 6 quarterback now just to piss Bob off. I mean, he literally only has 1 receiver. Now there's 3 guys who don't have a quarterback right now. Bob, and then the 11 and 12 pick.
Yeah, and I don't plan on taking one here either, Joe. So,
well, you might run out with that decision because there's 3 starters left.
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. All right. So we are going to take Krosky Merritt.
Bob, one thing I can tell you I'm definitely not doing this year is taking rookie running backs. They were such a disappointment when it all came to pass last year.
Yeah. No,
And
I
also
would.
looking at a name here that's on the board, Hunter Henry, guys, I know this is going to be super disappointing, is now a corner. With Jacoby Myers officially cementing his place, unless BTJ is no longer a Jaguar, Hunter is now officially a corner first and a receiver second.
So
Sucks in the world, but it's the reality of where we're at.
So what I want to say here, though, too, based off of what we're looking at here, this is a room where these running backs, Tootin, Marks, Krosky Merritt, Dobbins, Price, Corum, Chuba, Dowdle, Algier, Montgomery, Pollard, they're going to go, they might fall down a little bit more. But this group of running backs, you're going to see at least 2 of these guys hit this year. And again, it's very volatile, but if I'm playing this in the way I'd love to play it and the way I'm playing it this time is I want a strong 1-2 punch to start with and then taking chances and pot shotting some of these running backs, right? Like I'm not taking a chance on Aaron Jones. I'm done on that bus. If he does well, he does well. That's fine. All these tight ends in here, out of all these tight ends, you could only ever probably see me taking Tucker Kraft this high out of this grouping of tight ends because they're just so average. Now, Kittle.
Oh, I love Warren. He's
Kittle's
been my boy.
Well, I didn't say, I'm saying in this range from 8 to 11.
Okay.
Kittle is a great value. And here's why, is that if you build, and I talked about this yesterday, if you build Bowers, Warren, Loveland, or McBride, and you can wait on Kittle to get healthy again, Kittle's going to be a slam dunk here in the 11th round for you. Because Purdy loves throwing the tight ends. So
he does.
It's not, to me, that's not like Kittle's somebody you can invest in if you've already put the capital in early at the tight end position. Brandon Ayuk, probably not going to be worth the 11th round pick there. Tyler Shook is typically going to go in this 12, 13, 14 range anyway. He's going right where he should be valued. I think that's a great pickup, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, I think Shook's a dude. I'm very much on that bus.
I mean, he absolutely can be a dude. Again, with that guy taking 5 quarterbacks in a row.
Dark side taking Hunter. Taking the corner.
Joe, it's unlike you to only have 4 running backs, man.
Well, that's why I just took one. I think Kenneth Gainwell, for what he put up this year, is a massive value there. I mean, the guy's still like 26. Even if he goes free agent, he's going to put up numbers. And for a 12th round pick, that is, I think that's a pretty solid 4th running back.
No, I don't find any problem with that. I mean, I have 6 running backs. It's a little much. I've invested high, but they fell. Well, they didn't fall. I took a couple of them ahead of ADP, but they weren't going to come back, is what I'm more so saying.
You wanted them more than you didn't.
Yeah, they weren't going to come back. So we're gonna. I want to double tap quarterback here.
You probably need to.
But I'm going to take one of them. Okay, there goes Pat Bryant. All right, so I still don't want to do it yet. I don't want to do it yet.
Then don't. This world of indecision you're living in is hurting your face.
Yeah, it is. All right, we're going to take Jalen McMillan for the same thing that I was talking about earlier.
I love McMillan. He was on my board for the upcoming picks.
And then we're going to take Chamari Dike.
Oh, I love Dike too. He's also on my board. Chamari Dike is a guy who was just flat out underappreciated. He didn't put up the huge numbers that really people thought he was. He's a 4th round pick, but he's going to become more stable. And Darks, I get what you're saying. It's a discount at Hunter, but I really don't think it's a discount.
In all honesty, though, it's not going to burn you, right?
No, it's not going to burn you. He has upside. Don't get me wrong.
Like Tyreek is going to burn you because he might not even play. So that might even be that's going to be a dead. That might be a dead person. Like,
but it's a 12th pick. You can have dead picks at 12.
I love Rachaad White here. Typically speaking, he's going to land somewhere, and they're going to utilize him. I think in the 13th round. Looking at the running backs that are here, Joe, from Ja'Cory Crosky Merritt down to Mason now. I'm going to take chances on a couple of these guys every so often, depending on how I drafted earlier. Out of these guys, I'd take more chances on Rashad, Tajay, and probably one of the rookies. Just to try something. Because if one of these rookies fail at this price, it's not going to be terrible for you. But I keep hearkening back and remembering back to Caleb Johnson, right? And you don't want to have a Caleb Johnson season if you're investing a high capital. And you're going to see that the only rookie running back, Joe, that was drafted prior to round 10 was Jeremiah Love. And that was you, right? And now you're starting to see the rookie running back values pop in where people are willing to take chances on them, assuming that there's going to be jobs out there for them to take chances with. Brooks is still out there as a running back at 19th round, 18th round value is a guy that you like. Malik Willis is typically later. You're not going to see him typically in the 14th round. So it's, that guy taking 5 quarterbacks really, really messed with things.
But Bob, you also saw the board. You didn't adjust.
I adjusted to have a great team. Okay.
You adjusted to a great team. It's not going to have a quarterback on it.
Once my stacks ran out, it is what it is. There's still quarterbacks.
You're going to have McCarthy and Penix on your turn.
Possibly. I like Concepcion. A little bit of Concepcion action. This is a team where I'm going to have to take 3 quarterbacks. So, it is just what it is.
And then we are doing 20 rounds in this one.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit unique here for the underdog.
Yeah, because typically aren't they like 18?
18 for underdog, yeah.
Yeah. Now the question is, what does Arizona do? Do they keep?
If they lose.
Do they keep the Brisket? I don't know.
It's Brisket or like Malik Willis, or they're going to way over trade up and get Ty Simpson. It's Arizona. They're going to do something stupid.
Yeah. I would bet.
You taking Mendoza?
No, we're taking JJ. I just can't take a Raiders quarterback anymore. I don't like McCarthy. I don't like McCarthy for any stretch of the imagination, and I think he's pretty weak. But all things the same, again, his ADP is 186. Daniel Jones is 183. I had to take him a full round earlier, which is terrible value. But because the whole thing is drying up, you got to take him, a little bit earlier than you might want to. Ideally, what I would have loved to have happen is Burrow to fall to me at the 6th round and taking Burrow there at the 6th. But it didn't happen, and that's fine. But as you can see here, though, these players that are being drafted right now, their value is so wonky, right? Vele could pop, Naylor could pop, Dell and Franklin could pop. There's a lot of players here that you're going to see come August, one of those wide receivers. And I like the concept that, the Texas A&M guy, KJ.
Dark side, likely is probably a better pick than Hawkinson because he's got you better upside. I like that likely answer for you there.
Yeah. Trey Benson's interesting. Again, when you go, Joe, when you click the running backs right now, you're going to see some running backs that you probably want to do some investing in some of those guys. One of the guys that's like so interesting, Joe Mixon. Like, what is Joe Mixon doing? Like, is Joe Mixon going to come back? Is he healthy again? He's sitting here with an ADP at 211. Some of the rookies that we all loved last year, Jadon Blue, Ollie Gordon, Rashard Smith, Devin Neal, they're all still available. Are they going to get replaced? Are they just guys? Are they going to get replaced by some people that are coming into the NFL draft right now? Claiborne, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen's a guy I just queued up, Dark Side. Samson as well. So, I mean, like, anything could happen with some of these guys.
Well, the thing with Samson is that Judkins had a serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
And Samson's clearly the two. And a team that has Shedeur Sanders, who's one of the few quarterbacks you can definitively say has worse lowlights than Caleb Williams.
It's hard to do.
And it's very hard to do.
That's hard. That's really hard to do. Now, the question is, Joe, do you think Miami moves off of Tua this year and goes to Quinn Ewers?
I don't think that you can hire a new coach while the conversations start with how are you fixing Tua. I think that has to be the inherent starting point.
Are they going to fix Tua?
The question is he fixable? Which is a very valid and real question. I'm not sure what that answer is. Bob, you do have yourself a lot of positional value. I am not fighting that at all. Your clear weak spot is for the first half of this year, you're all in on McCarthy, which could be scary.
I mean, realistically, that's going to be very scary. But again, like we'll be doing 20 of these. So, I mean, I'm not
we're maxing out, but it's still about winning the one you're in.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely scary. Would I rather have Daniel Jones as like a third quarterback? Yeah, sure. But
if I were you, I would have taken Mendoza and McCarthy instead of Daniel Jones and McCarthy, just so you knew you had two the whole year.
I almost took Shedeur there.
Shedur's still on the board, I assume, isn't he?
Yeah, Darkside's going to take him, I think.
You can have him, Darkside.
To a quarterback here. The only question is, like, I really seriously wanted to draft Tua. I still might. If I had a good look at where Ty.
There he is. Thank you, Darkside. Now I don't gotta be tempted by crap.
Yeah. There goes Shedeur. Love it. Love it. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So how many rounds we have left here? 3?
Yeah, 3 left.
All right. I mean, I could go. I mean, again, like you guys know me in tight ends. I could really care less unless I get Trey McBride. And there's a lot of situations that are going to change. Like, for example, like what's Eric All going to do? Are they going to push him to play this year? Are they going to utilize him? Tongus, will he be the answer while Kittle is out? Or are they going to go and look for a rookie or somewhere else? I talked about Gunnar Helm and Chig Okonkwo yesterday. One of those guys in Tennessee is going to do well, is going to shine. The question is which one. Also, in terms of quarterback, like it's definitely something where one of these guys that currently isn't being drafted is probably going to have a decent season. Whether that's a guy like Riley Leonard, whether that's one of the rookies, and even Houston, like what will Houston do with CJ? It's like, all right, take Ty, and then
on a tight end.
Trig. Yeah, I mean, like again, like the value of tight end is so different from year to year. Like this was a decent enough tight end year, but in order to be like super valuable, you either need to get a tight end that's catching a decent amount of balls, is on the field for more than just blocking, or is going to be one of those guys that's catching touchdowns. And basically, you're not going to find that outside of McBride, Bowers, Loveland, and even Fannin, right? So if you want to invest in that high capital, that's fine. But like I said, like I think Loveland for me I would want him to fall to the 5th if I'm drafting in the 5th round. I love Sam Laporta in the 7th round and Tucker Kraft in the 8th round. It's just you're going to have to either take them early if you're sitting there at the top of the 7th if you want one, or you're going to have a pick at the bottom half of the draft. Rarely, though, have I seen someone at the top half of the draft take a chance on Laporta or Kraft, but I do think that they're worth that price out of all the tight ends out there if you don't want to pay the premium for a guy like McBride. Yeah, it was, again, Shadur is one of those guys I'm really just, if you can get him cheap, it's worth a chance. Like, I mean, I'm staring down the barrel of a Daniel Jones, JJ McCarthy, Ty Simpson quarterback room on this team. It is what it is. I might even take a 4th one. It's either a 4th quarterback or a 3rd tight end on this roster. I have 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers. So, I either go with another.
I do like the Tillman was my dude last year. Everything was lined up for him. It just never happened.
I don't think he's a bad pick at all.
I don't think he's a bad pick at all for the last round. I like 20-round drafts.
Darkside said that all these drafts all these early ones are 20 rounds.
Yeah, that's how it was last year. Until we got to the actual schedule release, and we got into the big shows, where they went to
the big shows. The big shows.
I mean, Tua in the last round seems like a pretty good quarterback value.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
Like him or Riley Leonard.
I was gonna take Tua, but again, like, they said, "Oh, we don't know what we want to do with him. We don't know."
He's going to be one of the 32 starters, though.
You would
care where it is. He's the last round pick.
You would think.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than Malik Willis. I can tell you that guaranteed. And if Malik Willis is propped to be one of the 32, Tua will be one of the 32.
Yeah, potentially.
It doesn't have to be in Miami. I don't care. I know where it won't be. It will not be in Chargers.
Yeah. So I ended up with 4 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. It is what it is.
So, Bob, taking Daniel Jones, why didn't you take Riley Leonard?
I just don't see. I don't see that Riley Leonard is going like. Okay, so Daniel Jones, 6 to 8 month recovery from when he got hurt. So we're already on probably about recovery month, 2 at this point in time, maybe even 3. Right? When did
you're missing 8 weeks with Daniel Jones regardless.
Jones injury. Yeah. So when we look at this,
Halloween is kind of his earliest return.
No, so it says surgery in December with a return to the field late June to August. So the necessity of taking Riley Leonard
is 0.
I
appreciate you doing that injury insight because that's good to know.
It's saying that. So this is coming from everyone. Again, I'm just searching the web. It says everyone says it's not a full year injury anymore, but every time someone comes back from it, it's so obvious that they're not the same player pre-injury. Happens with Kirk Cousins, happened with everybody else. It's saying that Colts quarterback Daniel Jones tore his Achilles December 7th, and team is hopefully can return June or July. The general timeline works. IMO the Colts.
You guys, we're going to start a new little one at 4:45 Eastern. 4:45 Eastern. Get ready to click it.
We're gonna do another little board, Mick.
Yeah.
Joe, because this is a 20 maxer, we kind of want to get those in. The big
And
board,
we
I
also
think
want to let you guys see our 20 max, kind of transparency.
the big board will probably be available for quite a bit.
Sure will be.
Until, after the Super Bowl. So Joe, when did you say we're clicking?
4:45.
4:45. All right. Yeah, to fully be back, I agree with you. 2 to 3 year thing. Again, I'm not investing too much in the team I just drafted. From the perspective of, I have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Are they the best quarterbacks? No. Did I spend a lot to get them? Also, no. Is my team stronger in other areas? Yes. So if I can get one of those quarterbacks to hit, it's just like taking 8 running backs, 7 running backs in a tournament like this. Would I have rather not done that? Absolutely. Absolutely. There were plenty of times where I thought about taking Cam Ward a little bit earlier, Joe. If you scroll down the board so we can see that decision-making process there. So where I took DK and where I took McMillan, I did think about taking Cam Ward and DK instead of McMillan, but I was like, oh, well, everybody's got like 2 or 3 already. I'm going to just hold off a little bit.
Well, Ward was my second.
Shook was also a guy I was eyeing. I was going to take Shook where I took Jawan.
That was that guy's first.
And I was also thinking about Shook and Darnold, where I took Krosky, Merritt, and Jawan because of what it goes there. But the reason why I didn't do that is that typically in these tournaments, right, is that I don't want to overcompensate for some douchington who takes 5 quarterbacks, because I know that if this team ends up making it to the big dance, there are going to be teams that have Shook plus Jawan, or Shook plus Jakrosky, Merritt, and Jawan, right? So like I don't want to over invest in adjustments when there is a douche taking 5. You get what I'm saying?
I get that, Bob,
So
but you also have to recognize that you have to have a roster. 4:45, guys. That you do have a roster that needs to be made.
I've got a roster. All right, I'm in.
Yeah, mine currently has 3 people in it.
Yeah. So Mick, we're in a little board right now. 8 left. Dark side in a little board right now. 8 left. But yeah, so like worst comes to worst, Ty Simpson could be the Steelers starting quarterback this season. Will they have Will Howard? Will they go with him? Who knows? Going also with Daniel Jones, JJ McCarthy. Is JJ McCarthy one for this world any longer? I don't know. It's a lot of ifs and buts and candies and nuts. And then Quinn Ewers as an outlier. Will they pivot to him over Tua? I don't think they should, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying?
I got to say this. Watching it before this new one starts, looking at my team for last year, you've made me feel so gross for taking Alec Pierce. But someone is going to make him their number 2, and that guy is going to fly over the face of the earth. Like,
it's
there's
gross.
A lot of landing spots that he will improve the room drastically.
But you can't tell me that. So Alec Pierce is one of those players that I think has an exceptional talent as a great deep ball threat and a chain mover. But like at the same point in time, how many receptions a game does he get? Not many.
Oh no, I know. And he
right.
When
so
he
like,
grows up, he wants to be chain. I get that.
To take a home run threat like that, unstacked with a quarterback, doesn't really.
I don't know where he's landing. I might have stacked him.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like it's doubtful he ends up in Green Bay, but like it's so hard that
he might end up in Miami. He actually is a perfect guy to go to Miami.
I think his ADP,
Tyreek, it's perfect.
I think his ADP is 1 round too high. I think he should be drafted at the back half of the 6th round, maybe even top of the 7th round. Like I would rather have Marvin Harrison and Waddle and Christian Watson ahead of him.
Alrighty, guys. So let's see who we got here. I will be the 4th selection in this draft. Looks like Mick, you're gonna be 3rd. Bobby will be 8. And Darks, I'm not seeing you.
Get money.
Is anyone else in here?
All right. Mix number 3. Nice.
Yeah.
3, 4.
Am I missing Dark Side?
Dark Side's not in this one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I
Nick, I'm so glad that you have the real logo next to you.
I feel that Dark
Love
Side.
it.
I was so close, Joe, yesterday to winning $5,000 on a show on that Rams showdown. I was 5, and I was in the top. I was in the top, 600 because there was a lot of cutting it up.
Sure.
But I was 5 points away. If I would have bought Devontae Adams, I would have won $5,000. It would have been nice. But
all right, big question here. Setting my team here,
Jamar.
Mick.
You go Jamar.
Go Chaser Gibbs.
It's Jamar. It's Jamar. Jamar is by far and away, like, if outside of Bijan, my favorite pick of right there.
I don't even care if it's Chuck. I love building teams with Gibbs. I like building pirate teams, and that's what Detroit did. You got Mr. Gibbs, you got Laporta. You got so much fun things going on in Detroit.
We're gonna.
I also gotta say this. I think that Jigba is as good of a season he's having. There's no way he replicates that next year. There was no other receiver in Seattle at all to be any form of a target threat whatsoever. There is no way that is the same problem next year. So I see no way that Njigba stays as high as he is this year.
I love Jason though, man. I mean,
I'm not saying I don't love him. I'm saying he's not 5th overall quality.
I disagree with that. I think you're looking at it through some messed up goggles, because we're looking at Jason. He was a 4th round guy this year. And we said a couple of times that, there were times that we would take him and times that we wouldn't. It depends on how you felt about Darnold, right? And Jackson Smith-Njigba has the talent to end the year as a number 1 overall wide receiver.
I'm not fighting that at all. What
I'm saying is
numbers are going down because there's going to be another target there. There isn't a second pass catcher at all in Seattle. There will be next year.
That's fair.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I just know there will be at least one.
That's fair. I love the HM McBride start. It's very volatile, and I love that. Just because both of those players have tremendous talent. I do have a concern of how they will utilize. I do have a concern on how they will utilize both of those players next year, just because of the big coaching shifts that have happened for those teams. So that is a generalized concern for players like that. Same with Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra, they lost another swing offensive lineman. I think they do need to get that offensive line figured out, but Amon-Ra is a great talent. I will take him at 1.8 all the time. And you see Jeremiah Love going, Joe. You took him at the top half of the 2nd round, bottom half of the 2nd round this time.
I love him.
So his value swings very wildly.
And that's fine.
Which is, he's going to end up in the 2nd round probably. He might even end up cementing himself, depending on what team he lands on, above guys like Omarion. And typically, he'll be above Chase.
Dude, I think he's an amazing fit in New Orleans. And if he goes to Cincinnati, he just made Chase Brown completely worthless.
And I love Shaheed as well. You guys know Shaheed's one of my favorite downfield threats.
Sure.
And getting him acclimated more and more, because it does look like they're going to continue to ride with Darnold and this offense. I think there are just very good days ahead for this team. If they can keep the core unit together, keep the offensive line healthy, keep Darnold upright. I mean, because he was taking a lot of pressures yesterday. So keeping him upright would be nice. I love Derrick Henry pick there at the bottom half of the 2nd.
That's a good pick. Mick, you just screwed me, man. I was 100% going Rice there. Thought I was going to get him back. I feel very sad.
I'm avoiding Rice, I think, man. I'm not super confident in his law, and following the law.
He's on the field, dude. He's by far the
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that, but that was the same thing we were going into the drafts last year with.
Yeah, but we knew he was getting suspended last year. He's not necessarily getting suspended next year.
Yeah, he might be put out of the league next year. It's very problematic.
That's an all or nothing risk.
But
if he's there, he could be a league winner.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Bucky at the
Bob, are we gonna have a stupid quarterback run? Are we?
No, Bucky's a guy though. We talked a lot about Bucky last year, and will Bucky continue to be the guy going into this season? I do think so.
I think so.
And his value
him over Jacobs, but
his value is going it's really varying. I've seen him as high as mid-second and as low as third round. So if I can get Bucky and Saquon, I think that's going to be a team that's not going to be as often built. 3 running backs in a row. 4 running backs in a row.
I'm probably not going 4 running backs in a row. Just
RJ Harvey is not the guy I would have went with there.
No.
If I'm being brutally honest.
I think you should be brutally honest, Bob. We enjoy the brutality.
We enjoy the brutality. All right. So with that pick, there's probably going to be a little bit of a run on running backs. But as you can see, it's very easy to avoid Drake May, Joe. It's super.
Something you should do.
May. Damn it. That's who I wanted.
Scatterboo, I don't think Scatterboo can ever win you a fantasy football championship because I don't think he'll ever play in week 15.
All right. Well, I'm going to do what I told you I wouldn't normally do. I'll take Loveland in the 4th and see how the draft rolls down.
You're going to hate this draft.
Because I love Scatterboo. That was going to be my pick there. There's nobody on the board that I like more. Yeah, running back gets real gross starting in round 5.
Yes, it does.
So you have a lot of decisions to make starting in round 5, especially if you're at the top half. Now, the wide receivers like Sweetleaf here with Puka, Nico, and George Pickens, that's like tremendous starting point, and they're going to start making up the running backs at this point in time. Okay, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown,
I'm doing. Where I'm going to have to go receivers to make up for the running backs.
CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Ladd, great. Kyle Pitts, Mick, I wouldn't have done that, but I get it. Again, Colson Loveland in the 4th is not something I like to do often. So I'm just being straight with you guys.
You're exploring the space, baby.
Exploring the space. Again, Quinshon Judkins, like I said, his ADP is sitting at 65 or 64, but he's not being drafted there. If you are at number 1 overall, number 2 or number 3, because of the dearth of running backs at that value, Joe, you are getting Judkins and Swift climbing higher past their ADP. You know what I'm saying? So
I totally understand what you're saying.
So like his realistic ADP is sitting there at 49. I have not seen him go much lower. Scatterboo could be a trap with his injuries and everything.
Scatterboo is a trap.
Auto drafted Kyle Pitts. Mick, auto drafted.
Mick, that's why you gotta have your queue built. Mine's 7 deep right now, baby. But you're a veteran. You know how to do this.
There goes Lamar. Which is fine.
I don't think I can get on Lamar's bus. He burnt me too hard last year.
I mean, that's fair.
That might be too risky. And I'm definitely not on Drake May's bus.
That's fair.
I have some unchurchable stories about Drake May I can't say on air. Maybe they'll make the rounds before the Super Bowl.
I mean, I can tell you, but I can tell you, like, looking at the board right now, you can see a veritable shift from 7 down, it's heavy running back. 1 through 6, heavy wide receiver, right? So you're
Except for
seeing
that poor guy who took 3 running backs to start.
You're seeing already like that pivoting that's that people are taking. Like, London, Neighbors, JMO, great, Kyron, awesome, Caleb. I thought about it with Loveland there, get a nice little stacky stack in there, but I just couldn't do it. He did a Rome stack, which is fine. There goes Michael Wilson, which is fine.
That's way too early for Michael Wilson. I mean, I love Michael Wilson, but there are so many more talented football players that are still on the board that are in better positions. It's crazy. Like Waddle being a prime example.
Do I think that Waddle is like looking
Waddle
at
was going to be my pick.
Looking at all the players there, like I said, I got Waddle at the top of the 7th round the last time, so he's not varying too much from that ADP. Do I think this team has a lot of injury concerns from last year? And see, here's the thing: Devontae Egbuka and Marvin Harrison are the reasons why you can go 3 running backs early. From what I see so far in these drafts, right? I love May, but Lamar, Hurts, and Daniels are the values. Truly, they are dark side because you're going to be able to get Jalen Hurts in the 7th round if you want him. You're going to be able to get Joe Burrow in the 6th, 7th round if you want him, right? Seeing that there's no guy taking 5 quarterbacks, you're even going to be able to take Purdy and Bo Nix probably in the 8th or 9th round. Okay, so like there is not really Drake May's not putting up 30 points a week. He's pretty much over the course of the season, he's been around that like 24, sometimes occasionally hitting and spiking to 28. That can be found elsewhere. I mean, it's not something that you realistically have to push. But a 5th round for Drake May, it's like, okay. So there, you see what I was saying about Tucker Kraft, Joe?
Kraft was going to be my pick.
The guy wanted him, so he pushed him up the board. Right.
And I'm a young
guy. So. That's again, running backs are drying up. So you're going to take a chance on some guys that maybe you wouldn't take a chance on. And you see here, Joe, like I said, Alec Pierce will probably be available to you here in the 7th.
He is, but he's not the one I'm taking.
He's there. But again, you took him in the 5th.
Bob, I'm not saying I didn't mess up before.
There's BTJ. Love BTJ. Love him.
I love BTJ as a 4th receiver, man. Especially if he's not there.
He will be there. Like that will happen. There goes Herbie Burby. You see Mike Evans still there on the board. People, assuming the retirement.
I think that's a fair assumption. I think it's a very fair assumption, actually.
There goes Parker Washington. So this guy, down here with Parker Washington, Michael Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Garrett Wilson to go along with Devin H. and Breece Hall and Trey McBride. I mean, I like it. I mean, these wide receivers are kind of the reasons, like I said, with your wide receivers, why you can start with Trey McBride and you're not losing tremendous value. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally got you.
Drafting Trey McBride at the top half here with what's out there right now, that's the reason why you can do something like that. And to be honest, I don't mind that. There goes Joe Burrow. I was wondering if he would come back to me. Man, Joe Burrow at top of the 8th. Gotta love that.
So much different from how it was last year.
Yup. But also that guy took my guy again. All right, we're going to take. And, QJ is one of those guys too. Like he is sitting on the board right now. My pick, I wanted to take Tootin. But he's sitting on the board right now. And, if they continue to use him with the coordinator, with Daniels, if he stays there, he's going to have a tremendous season. Just like, if Trey Harris stays, or if they decide to use Trey Harris, I think it's going to look good. Now, here's where you start to go. Like from Kamanungai on, there's no running backs that anybody really wants. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to take them, but you really don't. So it's like Chuba, Corum, Tootin, Pollard. Tootin's one of those players that I think is going to shine next year. Patrick Mahomes, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something about the wounded animal comes back and he's the king of the world again.
I mean, I think you could have waited until the 9th round for that, but okay.
I'm having a little bit of debate about the direction I want to take this roster right now.
Okay, that's fair.
I kind of wanted people to just tell me what to do. And there was a little bit of, I get that that's cheating, but Mahomes doesn't make me feel bad.
I get it. I would question if you want to put Baker on this roster, with Ibuka there.
But don't worry about it right now, baby. I got this.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it.
But you know me, I like to build the starting roster up front.
Yeah,
I like to come out of the 10th round with the starting roster done.
That's fine.
And you took Laporta off me.
Triple tight end.
If that had to have been
Mick with the triple tight end. Oh my God.
Stolen off of me. Mick, not a fan of that. I got to be outright.
Well, you took Mahomes off of him. He wanted to pair him with Rice. So Baker, I knew it. I knew you'd do that. You had to.
Also, he threw me off. I was a little bit of a panic there. But there we go. That's fine.
That's fine. It will be fine.
Mick just auto drafts me into me auto drafting, which makes me sad. But it is what it is.
All right.
See, but the best part about both of us drafting at the same time is you don't yell at me whenever I have a auto draft guy on my queue that goes out way earlier than he should.
Who was that?
It happens every year where one of these drafts, someone I have way in my queue that should be like a 17th rounder, we take in the 6th round.
It didn't happen yet, though, right?
It has not happened yet, but it will inevitably happen.
Okay. A guy down there at 11 got Bo Nix. And again, Bo Nix in the 9th, right? So, like, you're seeing a more normal draft right now, Joe.
Much normal.
Where you don't really need, like, I took Daniels in the 7th, but you don't really need that. You can wait and take Brock Purdy in the 9th and still be fine. Right? We talk about like luxury picks, like you double tapped quarterback here. So from the rest of the draft on, you're probably looking at maybe one more quarterback if you want one.
Yeah.
So, I could also take Jordan Love. This in the trees guy's killing me every single time. But I am going to take a running back here. We're going to go on the Washington train there.
That's all good.
So in this one, building a little bit differently than I did last time. I didn't get quarterbacks until the very late rounds. Here I have 2 in the 7th through the 9th round. This is going to be the rounds, though, guys, where all of those quarterbacks are going, right? So you look at it, and the best quarterbacks still left on the board right now are Goff, Shook, and Darnold. And I don't really have a problem with any of those 3, to be honest with you, right? Then you're staring down the barrel of Kyler, Mendoza, Young, Stroud, and then Cam Ward. And if you want to take 2 quarterbacks in the 6 to 9 range and then go for it, go for the gusto in, like, say, the 14th, 15th round, take another running back, that's fine. Or take another quarterback, that's fine. See, the thing is, when we look at these little boards, it's hard to get back into the mode because we've been drafting all those short little 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's an adjustment. There's no lie about that.
So it's like a huge a huge adjustment. When I was sitting here yesterday, I was like, oh, that was an hour, because typically I would just crank out, the playoff best ball format ones. Joe, do you go Chris Godwin here? Get a little triple Baker action, maybe.
Nope. I need a fourth running back.
I mean, fair. All right.
Godwin wouldn't be the third piece I want. I'm probably going to take Otton, to be totally blunt.
I like Otton. I think you should have in mind Jalen McMillan as well.
Of course I do. He's on my board.
There goes Godwin. That's fair. I don't know if Jawan.
I feel like I'm like a little bit of like tight end purgatory right now. But it's also like doesn't really matter type thing.
Yeah, no, see, but that's what I'm saying is I took Colson Loveland in the 4th, and I've forgotten that I've even taken him. Right? Like,
that's the definition of an uninspired pick.
Like, I think he's a great player, but like I've totally forgotten that I've taken him. Seeing that you don't have one, you are in the same position that I was last time, and you can wait as long as you want.
I would have taken Laporta. I'm not going to lie. I do think there's a little bit of a cliff here, but taking 3 of like the back end from 12 to 18 is my normal strategy if I don't get a top end one. And that's what they made, the 12th through 16th round for.
Yeah, that's true. That is facts. All right. So now
I don't have Bucky though. That's the only piece of this Tampa offense, which why I went all in on Tampa with is essentially this argument is that I believe the reason they fell to face the earth, yes, bad OC, but really injured Baker. A healthy Baker is a happy Baker. He's going to put it in the oven, and he's going to make all of you Eagles fans upset. And it's going to be great. And that's what I really want. Put it in the oven.
Player. So I just drafted this player, but I really don't know how to feel about it. And it's Tajay Spears. I want to make Tajay Spears a thing.
Oh, no, don't do it to him.
But he's never a thing. He's never
a thing. Do not make him the next Tank Bigsby.
KJ. So no, the strategies for best ball are very different than regular redraft.
Absolutely.
So like for Joe and I, for example, right, is that Joe and I, we've been doing redraft leagues. I've been doing redraft leagues. So I think I'm like 38 or something right now. I've been doing redraft leagues since I've been like 15. Okay. Mm-hmm. So best ball is a format that Joe and I got into in the last like 3 years. And there's a lot of kinks to continue to work out every season. The computer models, everything is kind of hammering itself out. So you have to be super sharp often. But the formatting here is way different. So what you're looking at here, KJ, is that you want to look for something. What I like to look for also is closing line value. Is there a player that I can get? And it's a term that's shared in the community, right? Is there a player that I can get later that I think is going to go higher than their value is right now? For example, Ja'Cory Crosby.
Someone who's an 8th rounder become a 5th rounder in August.
Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt, for example, if he ends up being the starting running back for Washington, there's a chance that he climbs up into the 7th round, but you can get him here in the 10th. Okay. So things like that, targeting value, not over and if you do 150 maxes like Mick does, and Mick can tell you this, if you do 150 maxes, that you want to diversify your portfolio, you want to be able to, if you've over invested in, say, Jane Daniels, you might not want to continue to invest in him as much unless the value fell to you. And so when you look at it, and each tournament is a little bit different. These early ones, though, I love doing these early ones because there's a crazy amount of interesting things that happen often here. And you can kind of capitalize on things that maybe you might not normally do. I was going to take Conception. With this format, what you want to look for in redraft typically, right, is that if somebody in redraft, say you have 8 out of 12 teams already took a quarterback, you're going to wait as long as you can. In best ball, you can't do that. If you watched the draft that we just did, I waited too long and I got stuck with scraps. Because every one of these drafts is going to be a little bit different. And you want to try to take advantage of value. You want to take advantage of ADP. And again, this ADP is not fully worked out yet. So like, it's something to just keep your eye on. Especially in these tournaments, because we also don't know where the rookies are going. Obviously, you want to be cautious of over investing in rookies, because during redraft season, you already know where they're at. And typically after the draft, of course, you're going to know where they're at anyway. So there's just a couple of things to keep in mind. If you're just starting the best ball, though, I don't recommend jumping into like the $10, $25 tournaments. Go on Underdog, go on DraftKings, do the $3 tournaments, the dollar tournaments, things like that. Just get yourself wet behind the ears to do it. And again, the more you do it, the more you become familiar with how these drafts are going. And you'll be able to see how certain players start to climb and how others start to fall down. Because again, with players climbing, players fall. Like for example, Jordan Mason, Sean Tucker, Vidal, Dobbins, Jones, Connor, White, Sharps. One of those players will be drafted higher. Like out of this grouping of running backs, one of those players will be drafted higher than their current ADP come July. And the rest of them will maybe even plummet, right?
I mean, it is a zero-sum game. For as much as someone goes up, someone else has to go down.
Right. And so like Darkside said during the last one, he got Travis Hunter in the 11th. Here, Travis Hunter goes in the 12th. Okay. So that pivot, he's not moving too much right now. So that's a good, that's probably where his value ends up. Like I said earlier about Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is going 7th, 8th round. If you want him, you got to push him up your board. If you're at the top half of the round. So that's just some things to keep in mind if you're just getting started. If you are and you want to max a tournament like this and you have, the $60 that you want to invest in the little board, deposit the 60 in the Underdog, $3 a thing, get yourself ready for like in season. Because once the draft happens, all these ADPs do change.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time.
Because the rookies start climbing, others start falling. Like I said,
well, it's the combine is really where they change the most. Like, remember we were getting Bayshaw Tootin in like the 20th round this time last year.
Oh, you were getting
combine happens, and he was a 14th rounder.
We overdrafted Caleb Johnson in like the 6th round, and Jalen Warren was the guy that you wanted in the 9th round. And everything kind of corrects itself though. The markets are constantly shifting. And also here too, because this is best ball, you're not setting your lineup. So if you have 2 or 3 Christian Watsons and you have a couple other players that are a little bit more solid, you're overall going to have a pretty good season. But ideally, right, the biggest strategy thing though, KJ, is that once we know the schedule, and right now we don't know the schedule, once we know the schedule, we want to start, and just like Darkside said at the beginning of the broadcast, you want to start drafting for week 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, that's right.
So once you know it, you have to start investing in it. And that's kind of just the way these things are working out. And there's going to be a lot of rookies out there, guys. Not every rookie can hit. We experienced that this year.
I mean, this year we saw an anomaly for the first time, I think, since the 80s. A first-round receiver did not catch a touchdown. That was golden. First time ever, like since the 80s. That's crazy.
Yeah. All right, I'm taking my boy, Isaac Tesla. Touchdown king. King of the North. King of our hearts.
King of the mullet.
King of the mullet. You know, I got an interesting wide receiver room here, Joe. Amon-Ra, Christian Watson, Waddle, Pearsall, Jennings, Shaheed, Tesla. It's a lot of injury risk in that room.
Mm-hmm.
My running backs are a little scary, not as strong as the 6 I took last time. And the thing is, too, is like when it comes to team dynamics and makeups too, KJ, when the tournaments start for like the Best Ball Mania, I believe it's 18 rounds instead of 20 rounds on Underdog. And so you're not picking 3 quarterbacks typically. You're usually going to go with 2, or you're going to go with 2 tight ends. So it's something to keep in mind. Every tournament's different. Michael Penix, Penix monster. You got Penix, Goff, Dart. I like that. Lane, Reed, Burton, Rice, Chase. I will tell you this, though. I'm definitely probably overcompensating for this, but I am wanting to invest a good amount of capital in wide receivers.
Yes, obviously.
Just because, again, like you're able to start up to 4, and on DraftKings, it's way more important to get a good collection of wide receivers because it's a full PPR with their weird bonuses. But I do think that like writing a narrative too, we talk about this all the time, writing a narrative that these players can be successful, I think is really, really important when it comes to who you're deciding to take chances on. Now I have 6 running backs here, but again, like Barkley, Irving, Krosky, Maris, Spears, White, Allen. Is it the safest 6 running backs? No. Should I invest in another one? Maybe. But not here.
And there is a certain point, like once you get to week 13 on, you just want to have running backs that are alive. I mean, there is a little bit of just having healthy ones. So having the strategy of getting a couple starters in the beginning of the year and then a couple of backup types can work out really well.
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's plenty of times where a player that, you know, like Wilson here, for example, right? Wilson showed out one or 2 weeks when Jacobs was down. He walked into a great situation, and it was what it was, right? So it's like, that's totally something that I would like to, keep in mind as well. Keon Coleman, Joe, your boy.
Still hanging around there. That guy on the turn took both my guys.
How the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. All right. This is a guy that I have clicked on the little board or the big board every single time. Joe, talk to me.
Njoku?
Yes. I can't stop clicking him. Can't.
Well, I understand and respect that. With Fannin in front of him, Njoku needs to go to another place.
And he will. His contract is up.
That's true. Pitts is the valuable one because it was all the coach getting the most out of him. And with that being said, I'm not sure.
They voided the last 2 years of his contract. So he's out.
Oh, no, I get that. But so much was schemed up for the tight end position in Cleveland that you wonder if it's not forced to him if he'll be able to produce. However, his volume, and he's shown that he can. So I think he's a tremendous asset. Just where does he end up? And in a league that's going more and more tight end heavy, I think that it's something that's certainly worth considering and looking at.
I mean, 18th round, he's a guy that when you know, like, that's the thing. Like, you know, last year this happened with Jonnu, where, Jonnu walked into the Steelers situation. We were like, oh, okay, well, they have Freiermuth and Hayward, whatever. Jonnu's probably going to look good, and he didn't. But
no, he looked worse.
Then his value fell because he was going like 10th round, somewhere 8th, 9th, 10th round. But like seeing here Njoku in round 18 and saying like, hey, like even if you're not settled in the tight end position and you take 3 randos down here, once he gets on a team, he's going to fly up at least 4 rounds. Like make no mistake about it. All right, I got two here. So KJ, is your team set for the whole year? Or you are not able to pick up players off the waiver wire. So you are drafting. What you see is what you got.
Yeah, if they're not in the league, they're not in the league. They're not in the draft, they're not in the league.
If you draft Keenan Allen right now, assuming that he's going to have a good season and he retires, he's still on your roster. But he is now not collecting any points for you. So you have to keep that in mind, where that's especially important in the later tournaments when you look at players and you say, will X player have a chance to be a starter? Will X player be able to do this thing? Later on in the season is really important.
And I have a guy on my roster that I want to point out since we're ending up the show here. Pat Freiermuth in the tight end position in Pittsburgh has been completely destroyed by what Mike Tomlin's philosophy was. He is an incredibly talented guy at catching the ball. He is a chain mover. And I believe with a quarterback or a coach now who has made some really good tight ends in his past, that Freiermuth is a guy who's going to fly up the board. Because typically tight ends in the McCarthy era, I'm not saying they become 1 or 2, but they become in that bubble of 5 to 10. And you give me that in the 19th round, it's a win all day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all, actually. And there's a lot of interesting situations to see, like you said, Joe, with running backs, especially deciding which ones are going to go where.
Some of them you just like at this last pick here, I'm taking it strictly based upon I know his situation and it's a backup. So if the injury happens, it's a home run.
Yeah, it auto
drafted
Xavier Legette. I was not paying attention.
Ooh, that's not a worse one.
I would have liked to get another running back. I was going to take Isaiah Bond because he looked good last year too in the limited time he had on the field. And that's okay. I mean, I have 9 wide receivers.
He's the clear number 2.
I would rather sit at 8. I wasn't going to take another quarterback. And the thing goes to when you have these 20-round drafts, typically speaking, people will invest that extra. I thought about Pacheco too and Giddens. They're going to typically invest that extra pick into another quarterback, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. You guys saw what we did before. Like you could take 3, you could take 4, but typically speaking, like we have talked about this before, Mick here finished out with a 3.773, Joe with a 3.683, me with a 2.693, and often KJ, and this is just something you can also look up too.
I like that Lake Tennessee stack. I didn't think I was going to like it as much.
Sharps moving up, expecting Walker to get paid somewhere else. He's another guy that, he had an injury, big injury, just happened to him. But
I don't think Walker leaves. Let me just start with that sentence. I don't think Walker leaves.
But even if he stays, 14th round Sharp, and he's going below Mason, below rookies whose situation is not yet defined. And
Sharp's better value than all of them.
He's like, just looking at this board, we're not going to rack up another one today.
No.
unless you have time, Joe.
No. I got to run.
But looking at this board right now, you can see, Joe, can you go to round 7 through 11? Can you queue up 7 through 11 so we can take a look here?
7 starts with Tucker Kraft.
Yeah. So looking at 7 through 11, there's a lot of guys here, and this is typically here, where you're going to see 1, 2, maybe 3 of these guys, especially at the wide receiver or running back position, climb to 5th round or 6th round. And then you're going to see
a lot of the free agents are the ones that have the capability of doing that.
Right.
So up your landing spot.
You're looking here at guys like Ayuk. Ayuk's going to fall because his situation seems like garbage, right?
Well, Ayuk's a free agent. He's getting cut.
Godwin has the chance to climb. Dobbs, right? He has the chance to climb depending on where he ends up. Higgins, I think, is tremendous value.
Dude, imagine Dobbs in Buffalo.
Right? That's a possibility.
Dobbs in Buffalo is a 4th-round pick.
QJ, to be honest with you, I think the price of Lad in the 4th is too high when I can get QJ in the 8th.
Well, I actually think Trey Harris in the teens is the best value.
I've said this before. I took him, and his ADP, he doesn't even have an ADP from what I've seen.
Right? Yeah, no, you can get him basically where Trey Harris, I think, is a great late sleeper.
Yeah, my last one, Leggett. I think Leggett's going to be useless. I should have taken Bond. I was going to take Bond. I had him ready to queue up, and I wasn't paying attention.
And guys, another one. Assuming Washington can get an offensive line, Luke McCaffrey is a dude that they were invested in until he got hurt.
I want you to take a look at rounds 16 through 20. Just queue in there rounds 16 through 20. So pick number 12 here did the good old local football flavor special.
Yep.
And
tight ends don't matter.
And waited to take 3 tight ends. He also has Juwan in the 14th round, but taking 3 tight ends, because here's the thing, and you know this, and everybody watching knows this better than anybody out there, right? Is that the tight end position, you are typically going to get 10 to 12 points. If you have a monster tight end giving you 18 to 20 points, you are going to have to draft them so high. But this is where you're going to get that value, is that one of these guys has the chance to show up. Which one will it be? Yep. Right? And taking some rookies, we took plenty of chances on Mason Taylor last year. He did not pan out. It happens. Maybe he'll pan out this year. But looking here at the running backs, like Najee, total dope pick. Like, that's a non-entity right now. Joe Mixon, gonna land somewhere. Maybe he comes back and plays for Houston.
Well, they're the same. They're the same guy, basically.
Right? Then I'm looking at looking at the wide receivers here, Joe. Tesla has carved out a role. Torrey Horton looked good prior to the injury, carving out a role. I took Shaheed in round 13. I took Shaheed in round 13, but I think that Horton in round 17 is probably a better bet at some point in time, because Cooper Kupp, if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he's retiring.
Oh yeah.
Right? You look here, Marvin Mims, excellent. We have another Packers wide receiver. I'm avoiding Packers wide receivers. Bateman could be interesting going forward, right? He was being elevated last year. Last year they took a step back. What will happen this year?
Bateman had a good year 2 years ago. We don't know what he's going to do now.
Jalen Noel. Then we have some rookies sprinkled in here. So if you're taking 3 tight ends here, there's really no skin off your back, because that's assuming that you used your capital and you don't have to invest in any of these potential candidates to be breakouts at the wide receiver position.
Because you already have solid floors.
You didn't over invest in anything. Like, just taking a look, right? He took 4 running backs starting off the rip. Then this guy at the 12 hole has DK, McLaurin, Jacoby, Xavier Worthy, Debo. I wouldn't have taken Debo. Ridley, I wouldn't have taken Ridley. And Mooney. Those are guys that, if given situations change and their coaching staffs obviously are changing, et cetera, they could end up having good years, and their value is well worth it. And taking Ferguson or Kelsey there wouldn't have made sense. It's just all those things to look at. And a guy like Jalen McMillan, Joe, drafting in the 12th round, he's one of the reasons why you might not want to draft Igbuka in the 5th round.
I wanted the stack.
I know, but he looks good, right?
Yeah, but think about it. If Evans is out and Godwin takes a step back, which is totally possible, I got the 2 future guys.
So I want you to go back up before we go off. I want you to go through rounds 4 through 8 for a minute to just show you, because I said yesterday that we'd look at this, right? I'm avoiding the first round. We could talk about first round all year. But looking at round 4 through 8, what color do you see the most?
Purple.
You see purple?
I see a lot of purple.
I'm seeing a lot of orange.
I'm seeing a lot of orange too, but relative to what you should be, there's too much purple.
I'm seeing a lot of orange.
Those quarterbacks will start going lower and lower and lower.
The quarterbacks will even themselves out. Jalen Hurts will usually be in the 7th round. Herbert, like I said, from Dart down to Stafford, you can take any of those guys you want from the 6th to the 8th round. Okay. And
probably the 9th.
To be honest with you, though, looking at Burrow here in the 8th, when I was in one yesterday, I was in a big board the other day. I took Burrow and Jaden Daniels at the 6-7 turn just to kind of see feeling it out. But Burrow in the 8th is tremendous value.
Oh yeah.
Mahomes in the 8th also value. But looking at what's not there is running backs. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said yesterday,
I think you got to get your running backs early. I do firmly believe in that.
Yes, KJ. Stacking is great because what is going to happen is, assuming you are entering more than one tournament, right? Assuming you're entering in multiple tournaments, stacking is a strategy that maximizes a week. So you have to have less things happen to be right.
That's right.
So when you look at a guy like Dak, we did this plenty last year where we took Dak, CD, and George Pickens. While you are maximizing risk on both ends. You are maximizing the potential great risk and you are maximizing the downside. Okay. So you don't want to overstack, but this is where the stacking with the pieces from the other side comes into play. And this is where playing best ball playoff, goes into kind of thinking about this, where you want enough pieces from the other side of the week 15, 16, 17 games to build a narrative for yourself. So let's say,
and KJ, that narrative basically is this game is going to be the blowout of the week, and that's what you're rooting for.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, because the other thing you got to realize here with the best ball strategy is that floors don't matter. Essentially, it's all about the ceilings. Because you're taking you're taking 8 receivers. I only need 3 to be good. So the floor part and the risk element of one of them getting hurt isn't what drives the ship. What drives the ship is the ceiling, and that's what should drive your best ball rosters. We know no one, unless you're Chase, no one scores a touchdown every week. So especially in underdog, which is a half PPR league, it's all about spreading out and having enough volume that one of them catches the touchdown to offset the extra 30 yards someone else might have got.
And the other thing too is
higher volume. This is why Shakira is horrible picking this.
The other thing too is, one of the things I do like to do, and this is something that you guys know about me as a drafter, is that if I am going to take a tight end, I didn't do it this time with Colston Loveland. I thought about it with Caleb Williams. But typically speaking, if I take a tight end and it doesn't have, like Colston Loveland, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, I don't necessarily have to take their quarterback. But typically speaking, if I think a tight end is going to score, I most likely am going to take their associated quarterback, because a tight end is only scoring, unless you're like McBride, right? Is that you're only typically going to get maybe like 5 to 6 touchdowns out of them, if that.
Yeah.
If that.
That's the volume argument.
So, like, if I have Drake May, I'm absolutely want to invest in Hunter Henry. If I have JJ McCarthy, I probably want to invest in TJ Hawkinson if I think he's going to be there. If I take Shadur, I'm going to be taking Harold Fannin most likely. If I take Tucker Kraft, like, but also you want to look at thinking about schedule too, is like right now, looking at the schedule that we have, Joe Burrow is going to play a third place schedule. The Commanders are going to play a third place schedule. The Vikings are going to play a third place schedule. The Detroit Lions are going to play a fourth place schedule. So investing and looking at that from that perspective is another way to approach that. And Joe, just as my final thought here, when we look at those wide receivers that I asked you to show up in round 8 through, what did I say, 6 through 11 or 8 through 11 or something like that. Looking at those wide receivers is that there are gonna be league winners from the wide receiver position here.
But they're probably not the rookies, if history has told us anything.
They're probably not going to be Boston or Surratt. No matter how much you like them, there is odds are on favor. And again, this is the BTJ dilemma. Is that BTJ came out, he was drafted in this set of rounds, and he had a phenomenal season.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at the other side of the coin where last year, Ted had a great season. You drafted them 4th, 5th round. And then there was a couple of other rookies that failed here. Keon Coleman, another one of those ones. You drafted him here, he failed. So the odds that there are going to be multiple league-winning rookie wide receivers in this part of the draft or lower is low. So I would say if I'm looking at rookies, I would say not more than 2 in these early best balls. Not more than 2. And you'll see that I didn't draft 1, and that could come back to bite me. But say you're looking at drafter number 7 here. He has rookie wide receiver Tyson, rookie wide receiver Surratt, and then paired him up with Diggs, Pittman, and Johnston, and Booty, and Golden. So, like, that to me is a very dangerous game. It's an extremely dangerous game to chase the perceived value of rookie wide receivers. And it's going to be more pronounced once we see where these rookie wide receivers have landed. But also, like I said about closing line value, if Boston or Surratt ends up in a great situation, they're going to climb higher. So
just a word of caution to this tale. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. First round guy, pedigree there.
Every reason should have been successful, and failure to launch. Hey, it was awesome, guys.
Big failure to launch.
Again here. What week we go? Wednesday or Thursday? Or Wednesday? We're going Wednesday, right?
Yeah, we'll be live Wednesday with another little board, and then next week we might do one show leading up to the Super Bowl, and then we'll think about it. But yeah, but we'll be here Wednesday 3:45.
Always watch out for random Bob's going live. He has that capability and power.
It was just I had to do it.
So you get the urge, man. You get the urge. Well, we'll see y'all next week. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and love us.
All right.